Hello, Julie here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now today I am starting a flip-flop journal and I'm not using envelopes, I'm using pattern paper. I have cut 5 pieces, 5 pieces that are 8.5 inches by 5 inches, and I have cut 3 pieces that are 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Now the papers I'm using are from Denise Boddey's Jardin Romantic Design papers. They're all from that range and they are all beautiful. Now the 5.5 inch ones, I need to score them at 1/2 inch on the left hand edge. Okay. Now I'm going to fold those backwards. Use my bone folder and burnish them down nicely. Now this paper of Denise's is really quite thick. You know, it's probably 200 or 220 or maybe even 250 GSM. So it's quite thick and it could probably stand on its own, but I'm going to double it up just for safety's sake and so that I've got a nice sturdy journal. I'm going to just trim the corners of each of these pieces. Before I glue them down. Now I'm going to stitch around each of these, so I'm going to do that before I actually attach them to anything. So I'm going to take these to my sewing machine now and I'm going to stitch around them, and then when I've done that I'll return and we'll assemble our flip-flop journal. Okay, so I have stitched around everything and I have inked around everything as well. So now I'm going to start attaching my pages together. Now make sure you've got them facing up the right way. Turn them over. Fold this back. Run your glue along there. You can use whatever glue you like. You can use, I'm using art glitter glue, but you can use double-sided tape if you want to, or whatever your favourite glue is. I used to use double-sided tape for everything, but I found that after a few years it lost its stick. So now I'm going to line these up so that they're square, and I'm just going to leave a little fraction, about 1/8 of an inch, between each one. About like that. Then I'm going to fold that over and stick that down. So I'm going to burnish that. With my bone folder. So there we go. Got our first 2 pages connected. Now we're going to do the same thing with the next one. So once again, line this up. Wipe that off of there so I don't get glue all over my papers. So line that up there so that they are straight. So I'm lining this end up with this line, and then I'm just spreading them apart just a little bit. And running my glue along here. Want to try and make sure that we get right to the edges, both edges, so right out to this edge and right out to that edge. I'm not very good with the glue, am I? Going everywhere. Wipe those off in there. Now line these up. so that they're nice and straight. Don't want my book going off in weird directions. Got about 1/8 of an inch apart, and oops, bit move there. Burnish those down. Oh, that was clever. Let's try again. How did I have that? So that was like that. That's like that. That's got to go over there like that, and that's got to go down like that. Fold that back. Get them lined up. And fold them over. Okay, now the next one, same thing again. Make sure we've got all the right way up. One goes that way, that one goes that way. Glue on here. Way up, isn't it? Rightio, line this up along that line there, one up along that line there, about 1/8 of an inch apart, and fold them over. And burnish that down. Okay, so that's four joined together. That's going to go like that. Now we're going to put our pattern paper on the back of these. Now before I do that, I'm going to run some washi tape along the folds just to reinforce them. I'll use this. I don't think we're going to see it, so let's find the edge. Okay, so I'm going to run a bead of glue down the fold, just like so. Because washi tape doesn't always stay in place, I'm going to just come back a little bit from the edge and run that down there. And cut it a little bit short on this end as well. I'll stick that down. This is just reinforcing that fold because that's where we're going to stitch our signatures into. So I want to make sure that it has got plenty of substance there. Now, this next step is optional. I'm going to do it because I just want to make sure that this is nice and solid. Okay, now I'm just going to back these with the 5 by 8.5 inch sheets. I'm going to use glue stick to do that with, but I'm also going to add some art glitter glue around the edges because I want to make sure that it's going to stay stuck. Quite a few people have said that this glue stick is a good glue stick, so I'm taking their word for it. I'm going to just run my art glitter glue around the edge. And I'm going to stick that on, lining that up with the edge of that, like so. Actually, I think we're going to see that that washi tape, aren't we? That won't matter. That won't matter. Okay, now this one I'm going to put on here. I'm going to have to line that up with the top and the bottom and centre it on there as best I can. Do I want that one or that one? Maybe that one. Now these papers, as I said before, are nice and thick, and they probably would have been fine on their own. I always like to make sure that everything is nice and sturdy. I wouldn't like someone to be in the middle of using this and have it fall apart. I'd rather add the little bit extra. So when you are choosing your washi tape to reinforce your folds, try and select something that's going to blend in with your pattern papers. If you do, you know, get them a bit out of whack as far as the top and bottom is concerned, it doesn't really matter because you can trim that up afterwards. You could even make some of these pockets if you wanted to. Only just glue around the edge, and then you'd have a pocket. You'd have a top loading or a side loading on if you're doing one on the ends. Now, I need to wait until that is all nice and dry before I start messing around with it. So let me just tidy up here and let this dry, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I have stitched around that, I've inked around it, and I have set it aside to dry, and now it's all ready to go. We've got our double-sided pattern paper and a nice sturdy feel to it. Okay, so next thing is I have put together 3 journals. They're very similar. They've each got 10 pages in them, and they've got similar things in them. I've got coffee dyed paper, vellum, some scrapbooking paper, more coffee dyed paper, some coffee dyed music sheet, coffee dyed paper. This is some paper I bought from Which Craft Do You Do, some more coffee dyed paper, some coffee dyed tracing paper, and some coffee dyed dictionary. So they've all got a similar collection in them. These have got, they're not necessarily in the same order. So this has got a book page, that's a novel, coffee dyed paper, scrapbooking paper, book, music page, coffee dyed paper, vellum, so I've got a pink stripe vellum there, and tracing paper. And that one is pretty much the same as this one with the pink striped vellum in it. That one there was the only one that had the blue vellum in it. So we've got a dictionary page there, our vellum, coffee dyed paper, scrapbooking paper, coffee dyed paper, the paper from Which Craft Do You Do, coffee dyed paper, book page, and coffee dyed tissue paper, not tissue, tracing paper. So there we go. So they're all pretty much the same. Now I'm going to bind, so one's going to go in there, one's going to go in there, and then that will close like that, and then that will open to that one, and one will go in there. Now I'm going to bind one in there now, and then I'll do the other 2 off camera, just so you can see how to do it if you're not quite sure how it's done. I'm going to use this white waxed thread to do the binding. And okay, so to start with, we need to poke our holes. Now you can do this, you know, very what do you call it, methodically, but I'm going to do it in a pretty lazy way, and I'm going to just put my signature in there like that. I'm going to use my awl, and I'm going to poke holes through where I think I want them. Now they may not necessarily be perfectly in the right spot, but they will line up because I'm doing them all at once. Generally you would poke a hole in your cover, and then you would poke a hole in your signature using a template, but I'm not doing that today, and I'll probably pay the price. So now I've poked my 3 holes in. I'm just doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I don't know whether I said that or not. And I'm going to start from the back because I want the strings to hang out the back. So we go in through the middle hole, out through one of the holes, it doesn't matter whether it's top or bottom, right up to the top in this case, so in through that hole and in through our signature. Depends how thick your cord is and how big you've created your holes. I need a bit more of this, so I'm going to pull that through there like so. I think you need more than that. Okay, and then this goes back in through the middle hole. And then out. When we've got it out, we make sure we've got one side on each, one outcoming piece on each side of that centre thread. And I'm going to cut this off now because I can see how much I need approximately. Next thing we have to do is make sure that everything is nice and firm, so they're nicely in there. Fold over nicely. Okay, everything looks to be firm there. So we can now tie this off. So because we've got one on each side of this centre thread, it will allow us to actually catch that in between the two. So we're doing a knot left over right and right over left. And I always do another one just to be sure, which is probably not necessarily necessary, but there we go. So there we have our first signature stitched in to our flip-flop journal. So like so. So now I'm going to go ahead and stitch the other two signatures in, and then I will come back with another video and we'll decorate it. So that's my video for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, I'd love it if you would give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And I hope you can come and join me when I post my next video. Okay, bye.